Which famous comedian was haunted by one of the many ghosts of Cape May, New Jersey during an ill-fated vacation? The answer is no joke.
Did you know the most haunted seaside resort on the eastern seaboard is Cape May? Spooky.
Though it's now a museum and headquarters for the Mid-Atlantic Center for the Arts and Humanities, the Emlen Physick estate was originally a family home. Architect Frank Furness designed a grand 18-room mansion for Dr. Emlen Physick and his family. According to the Cape May Times, it was finished in 1879. Dr. Physick was a lifelong bachelor who lived with his widowed mother Frances Ralston and his unmarried aunt Emily. Though he had a medical degree, Dr. Physick never did any doctoring, instead living a life of leisure. Dr. Physick died in 1916 while Aunt Emily stayed on until 1935. The mansion then passed through a series of private owners, some of whom had already begun to report spooky goings-on, like disembodied footsteps. After visiting the home, local medium Craig McManus claims to have encountered two female spirits, one happy and the other decidedly not so. He also claimed to sense the spirits of multiple dogs, which is in line with the reported Physick family affection for canine companions. When it was first constructed, the Hotel Cape May was a grand affair. The centerpiece of plans to make Cape May a major resort destination, the Hotel Cape May ended up over budget and behind schedule, but it finally opened in 1908, then closed mere months later for repairs. Yet the place hung in there for decades. It was even renamed the Christian Admiral after a teetotaling reverend took over in 1962. Still, time and finances were not kind to the old girl and it was demolished in 1996. The Hotel Cape May managed to build a ghostly reputation in its time. Jennifer Brownstone Kopp, writing for CapeMay.com, recalled her visit to the old hotel just before it was pulled down and noted that the interior was so cold icicles formed inside. Taking timed exposures, Kopp captured images that included strange white blurs and just maybe the profile of a woman who shouldn't have been there. The chill also brought to mind stories of a woman who died during the conservative Christian Admiral days. Locked out of her room, she attempted to get in via the fire escape. She reportedly fell and now is said to haunt the bed and breakfast built on the site, messing with technology and shaking beds. Even Tina Fey told MoviePhone that she had a ghost shake her bed while staying at Cape May.
And one source was like, people have been known to feel this, or feel like someone is pushing on the end of their bed. And I was like, grr? What?
For a while, it may have seemed like the Hotel Macomber was going to be the last of its kind. It was built in 1916 and remained the newest hotel in town for more than 5 decades. Over all that time, one room in particular has gained a haunted reputation, Room 10. In the past, it's been hounded by loud, persistent knocking. Yet when guests open the door to see what the fuss is about, no one's there. Local medium Craig McManus surmises that the upset may be the work of Irene Wright, a woman who is said to have often stayed in that very room while visiting Cape May. She's known as the Trunk Lady for having traveled to the hotel with a distinctive steamer trunk. McManus himself has stayed in Room 10 on multiple occasions and claims that it's typically a quiet, even boring experience. Yet one evening proved to be more in line with other guests' stories. He was woken by loud banging on the room's door, though no one was outside when he checked. McManus also claims to have been disturbed by the sounds of other doors opening and closing, though staff later told him that he was the only guest in the hotel that evening. His theory that it was a busy late-night housekeeper was also squashed, as he learned all the cleaning staff had left well before the unexplained noises. Higbee Beach might just be one of the most haunted outdoor areas in the town if local stories are to be believed. According to Robert C. Alexander's book Ho for Cape Island, the beach included a tavern in the early 19th century, soon to be followed by yet another hotel that was christened the Hermitage. Thomas Higbee, brother of the original Hermitage proprietor Joseph Smith Higbee, died in 1879 and was entombed in a beach-adjacent grave nearby. His remains were disinterred and reburied in a more traditional cemetery plot in 1937. Local medium Craig McManus suggests that this disturbed burial may have something to do with the hauntings of Higbee Beach. After all, some of the stories involve a ghostly man seen walking along the beach at sunset. Of course, he always disappears before anyone can get a good look at him, frightening beachgoers just as the light is fading. McManus also claims to have sensed the spirit of a young blonde girl who lived during the earliest days of Cape May, as well as the shapes of 2 unidentified Native Americans who were less than happy to encounter McManus and his friend. Henry Sawyer was a local Civil War veteran who was captured by Confederate forces and narrowly escaped execution. He returned to Cape May and in 1875 began building the namesake Sawyer's boarding house. It's still standing, though the building has undergone a few renovations, and the sign out front now identifies it as the Chalfont Hotel. Sawyer's family residence to the south of town didn't fare quite as well. It was in such poor shape that it was demolished in 2000. Before that, however, the old Sawyer House was rumored to be the site of some ghostly visitations, including a sighting of the long-dead Henry Sawyer himself. Medium Gail Faraci visited the property and may have sensed the spirit of Mary Emma, Sawyer's second wife. These days, though, the ghost of Henry Sawyer seems to have relocated to the Chafont Hotel, at least if you believe the town's local ghost tours.
It was built by our war hero, Colonel Henry Sawyer, and he still stays on there thinking he's welcoming guests.
According to Dennis William Hawk's Haunted Places, the Queen's Hotel once housed both a gambling establishment and a brothel. The working women reportedly lived on the third floor of the building, which is now the site of some of the hotel's most haunted spaces. Guests have reported furniture that moves by itself, while some have even detected an unseen presence that strikes the beds in some rooms. According to CapeMay.com, other guests of the Queen's Hotel claimed to smell perfume in the especially haunted Plum Room. Once, hotelgoers were even locked out of their room, though owner Dane Wells retained some skepticism about the incident. He also denied the persistent rumor that one guest was forced to sleep on the nearby landing when the room's door wouldn't budge. Others are more apt to elaborate on the story of a haunting in the Queen's Hotel, like renovators who named the spirit Martha and assumed she was one of the women who worked in the hotel's more raucous and colorful past. Lighthouses are pretty much always haunted, at least if you go by the stories that are whispered through every seaside town that has such a structure, and the Cape May Lighthouse is no exception to this eerie rule. Visitors to this coastal outlook have reported seeing a ghostly woman and child standing on the first landing of the 199 metal steps inside the building. She's dressed in suitably gothic attire, sporting a long dress from a bygone era. The Southern Mansion Hotel further embellishes the tale, claiming that the unidentified spectral woman holds a lantern, like any good lighthouse ghost who is spotted floating through the darkness. Another haunting is said to be courtesy of the spirit of a man who reportedly fell from the top of the structure in 1995. Built way back in 1816, the Congress Hall Hotel has certainly had plenty of time to collect a ghost or two, even if the fire of 1878 consumed the original edifice. The hotel was quickly rebuilt in 1879. It's since undergone a series of structural and architectural facelifts. The renovators have worked to keep the original character of the 1879 building intact, and the historic hotel is now known for their elaborate winter activities. Medium Gail Faraci says she's encountered a number of spirits at the historic hotel. She told a reporter for CapeMay.com that while out for lunch at Congress Hall, she remarked on a well-dressed woman carrying a parasol. Only her dining companion, Leanne Austin, didn't see any such lady dressed in Victorian-era attire. Nevertheless, Faraci followed the spirit with Austin close behind. The incorporeal woman stopped her walk in the lobby and pointed at seemingly nothing. The specter vanished before Faraci could fully understand what was happening. According to the medium, the next day a fire occurred at the hotel near the spot where the ghost was pointing. The restaurant scene in Cape May can get pretty wild too. Take the Peter Shields Inn and Restaurant located on the east side of Cape May. Its fare has received glowing reviews, but the fancy meal may be accompanied by a ghostly visitation, if medium Craig McManus is to be believed. McManus claims that he encountered the spirit of a downtrodden Peter Shields who oversaw the building of Hotel Cape May on the staircase of the spirit's namesake inn. On another occasion, McManus and a small group of friends dined at the inn, but a trip to the bathroom produced a sense of despair and the conviction that someone had died there. Research revealed that Peter Shields' teenage son, Earl, had died nearby in a 1907 hunting accident. It could be that Earl is the source of some of the inn's ghostly activities.
Though Earl's earthly remains are buried in Pennsylvania, his ghost lives here.
The Washington Inn is also apparently haunted, as CapeMay.com reports. It is said to be host to a spirit of a young girl who has gained notoriety for calling out the names of staff members. Naturally enough, she's said to only do so when someone is working alone in the establishment. In turn, the staff have done a little name calling of their own, as they call the ghost Elizabeth. According to the Washington Inn website, the building that hosts the restaurant and bar was built in 1846 with a facade meant to mimic George Washington's home at Mount Vernon. For nearly a century, it remained in private hands, opening only in 1940 as a public establishment. With such a long history and so many people living and visiting the space, tracking down the identity of a shadowy spirit like Elizabeth may be all but impossible. Disembodied voices are one thing, but Elizabeth is also said to be game for an appearance, though not necessarily right in front of someone. According to CapeMay.com, she's believed to have shown up in at least one photo, alarming a mother who wanted to take a picture of her daughter at a kid-friendly tea time. While many purportedly haunted buildings in Cape May are open to the public, the Cherry House is a private residence. That hasn't done much to keep the ghost stories down. Much of the rumors of spirit activity are linked to the house's previous inhabitants, who took up residence there after the home was built in 1849. One of the most well-known was James McCree, who bought the house in 1854 and went through the deaths of 3 successive wives while living there. Current owners Beth and Frank Acker admit that both they and contractors working on the place have had eerie trouble with the doors, which open of their own accord even after being deadbolted. Others have experienced more blatant paranormal phenomena. An electrician reportedly entered a bedroom, experienced a sudden drop in temperature, and saw the form of an elderly woman emerge from a wall. Unsurprisingly, the man was frightened by the sudden appearance of an apparition right in front of him. Beth Acker says that he screamed, ran from the home, and refused to return. She suspects that the old woman was none other than Lois Culp, who bought the Cherry House in 1969 and fell in love with the historic structure. It could be that with all the work going on in her previous home, Mrs. Culp wanted to keep a watchful eye on things from the other side.